Right, two things. The first of which is, remember, we are making this video to have some fun. Remember that word, fun? Good. And secondly, when you do hear it, don't pretend it wouldn't work. For you see, if one of AEW's goals is to be competitive when it comes to ratings with WWE, or they just want to light a new fire under their tuchus, they better go and hit the nuclear option. Why? Here's why. Now let's not forget, a year or so ago, this was on the cards. And I love both WWE and AEW, but the numbers don't lie, unless you're a child cheating on a test. But CM Punk had arrived at All Elite Wrestling, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of buzz, and people were going, oh man, what's this AEW thing? This was also because Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole jumped ship, and all of a sudden the wrestling war was heating up, especially when you did look into those ratings. I mean, not only was Dynamite getting more viewers than ever, but when it came to a pay-per-view, people were shelling out of their pockets. And don't forget, it's one thing saying, will you please watch my free television show, when you say, nah brah, give me some of your finances and you get it. Well, you've definitely done something right. And when that does happen, you deserve a cookie. And then we got to the brawl out and all out, and everything between CM Punk and the Elite, well, it just kind of stalled everything a bit. Now, as ever, we don't know what happened, and I want to always focus on the human side, so as ever, I hope they're doing okay. But it did kind of feel like the casual viewer, if we dare to use such a term, was like, well, this is a little bit negative. I don't really want to be involved in this anymore, because don't forget, if you create a positive environment, more people want to come dance in. It was soon reflected in that magical 18-49 demo as Rampage fell down something very fierce. Well, that's probably a different video for a different day. But the evidence was right there for all to see. Progress had slowed. I think that's a little bit sad. It also doesn't mean it can't unhappen, which is not a word. And actually, when you look at All Elite Wrestling over the last few weeks, they are doing everything they need to do, and they're seeing those numbers creep up again. But you're getting banger after banger matches every single damn week. They are focusing on their product, and we're trying to make new stars. However, that's gonna take a little while. It always does. So if you do want to opt, can't wait for this, for the nuclear option, do you know what you could do? Sign Shane McMahon. Oh yeah. Now look, is this likely? No, probably not. When it comes to rifts, the McMahon family has enough of them. But when we do turn to Shane-O and we do talk about people being a draw, well, he is one. Because do not forget, when he returned at 2016, not only was that clip viewed millions and millions of times, but as soon as Vince went, oh my gosh, you're going to fight The Undertaker at WrestleMania 32, loads of people went and bought tickets. So once again, we come back to our phrase of the day like it's Sesame Street, the numbers don't lie. His name also attracts mainstream fans and lapsed ones as well, and let's just be transparent here. If somebody with the name McMahon appears on the competition, and it's not the Raw versus Nitro simulcast, the internet is going to melt down, everybody's going to be shouting from the rooftops, and you're going to get your damn remote controller, and you're going to tune in. Although apparently in this case you picked up a phaser instead. I mean, it would be totally insane, and we'd all be massively intrigued to see what was going to happen. And also, Shane McMahon would instantly be the biggest heel in the company. I mean, here he is, the embodiment of our rival, just dancing away and throwing potatoes. I mean, it's like Jeff Jarrett times 100. I mean, look what happened when even Chris Jericho started dropping in the term sports entertainment. Within seconds, everyone was going boo, boo, boo. And I totally understand this. Lots of people watch AEW because they want nothing to do with WWE, and they're just happy there's an alternative out there. So it just would be so surreal, and as far as I know, there's no reason he can't do this. He doesn't have any contractual ties to WWE, so if he does want to skip down the road, well, he can get to skip it. It also does count as an Attitude Era star, and as we have seen, they will always help you out a little bit. And just think about this, if you will. We could do Shane McMahon versus Darby Allin. And despite Shane-O being like 52 years old, I've never seen him not want to take risks. In fact, he's absolutely obsessed with it. And as Darby has come out and said time and time again, he is here for a good time, not a long time. So if he has to go and kill himself, he will. And I'm actually worried about what they would do here, because they would lose their minds. But are you trying to tell me this wouldn't get a great live reaction? Of course it would. I mean, when they both fell through the entrance tunnel, through 56,922 chairs, some tables and some thumbtacks, everybody is just gonna make all the noise. And it would be the same on social media too. I mean, no one is going to remember all the flubbings beforehand because you would be in the moment, although I do accept there may be some issues here. For example, is Shane McMahon actually going to go to AEW and agree to lose to anyone? Especially because back at the 2022 Royal Rumble, the rumor was Shane was told, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar is going to beat you up. And Shane went, nah, I don't want that to happen. I mean, can you imagine? It is still the most ridiculous thought any human has ever had in the history of this planet. And when we do turn back to the human side and we go inside the tum-tum, Shane-O probably shouldn't do this, because it would probably be the end or the ultimate rift between him and his family. I mean, it's absolutely not worth it if that is the case, even though WWE does have this Succession vibe hanging over it at the minute. Because once you make that move, you cannot unmake it. The DeLorean doesn't exist. Well, no, the car does. You take my point. Switching back to AEW though, and going back to what I said a second ago, they do seem to be headed in the right direction. Once again, you can see that numbers, there we go again, are increasing. So then you have to cross your arms and say to yourself, well, isn't it better to back yourself and bet on yourself than go out there and basically do the ultimate publicity stunt? And in many ways, that is what we did with CM Punk, because the temptation was there. And actually, when we bring Tony Khan into the conversation, first thing I would ask him would be, do you really need the hassle? I mean, it all depends on what your hopes and dreams are, and as ever, there's a bunch of answers to this question. I mean, this is just the option where the industry falls off a cliff for a little bit. I mean, it's a very fun cliff, but good grief is it treacherous. It would likely mean Khan shifting his vision a bit as well, because bless this man, no matter what happens, he knows what he wants from wrestling, and he will always double down on it. For example, Shibata just turning up on a Friday to wrestle Orange Cassidy, or the fact that one of Bryan Danielson's recent opponents was none other than Timothy Thatcher. I mean, every single AEW show also just has a bunch of hardcore references, and more power to that. Don't forget you want to serve all your audiences, especially this one, because they ain't going nowhere. What I do want to say as a random aside is that we all need to remember that having AEW around is absolutely better than not having AEW around. I mean, if you really want to sit down and go through that 20-year period where WWE was #1 with no competition, I will show you a bunch of storylines where you would just face palm, because they could basically do whatever the hell they wanted. If you are interested in that wider alternative though, I'm just saying, somebody is out there. But to flip that on its head, do you even need to worry about this? Why can't you just be happy being a strong alternative or a strong number 2? I mean, it's like lifting weights. You're only in competition with yourself. So if you can get to the end of every single year and you realize, oh, can you believe it, we're doing better than they were, then you won. You're a success, you've achieved. And that's all I need. And also as a fan, I don't need to care about merch numbers or ratings or pay-per-view buys. They're interesting and they're intriguing, but as long as I walk away from my wrestling show feeling all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum, then I've won too. I like winning. Where's my medal? I know, there's a bunch of people in the comments right now going, Simon, I can't believe you said those words. But once again, it just comes down to entertainment. That is what wrestling exists for, to distract us from the problems in our lives. And I love the idea of sitting down with a friend and going, can you believe if Shane-O turned up on Dynamite? Also, I've got a very sick and dark side to me. You bet your ass I want to see this, because some of the tweets, well, they may be the greatest thing ever. Just to clarify, I doubt this ever will happen, but it is the pro wrestling industry, and you never say never. I mean, Eric Bischoff, he turned up on Raw, Bret Hart and Vince McMahon came together again. So in some crazy alternative universe, this has already happened. And maybe one day, it will happen on ours too. Now please do leave a comment below the comments and let me know what you think about this. But be nice and be pleasant, but answer the question. Do you want to see Shane McMahon in AEW? Yeah, even I understand this one. This is a pure troll. Also, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also go to whatculture.com where we write articles like this so you can get wound up twice. You can follow us on social media to call us buttheads at whatculturewwe, made myself laugh, and Simon Miller 316, or better yet, go watch another video, be like, I can't believe the bald guy is back. This bald guy is also called Simon Miller. It has been What Culture Wrestling, and genuinely, I appreciate you. We make so many videos. Sometimes it's just nice to be silly. And trust me, I enjoy being silly, and I like professional wrestling. You know what? I like you too. I'm recording this on Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. Have a hug. See you soon.